Hi, this is Scott Sustacek, your host for CEO to CEO, the podcast from the CEO Roundtable. CEO Roundtable is a peer-to-peer organization that brings business leaders together to share wisdom, experience, and insights from the trenches. Today's episode is sponsored by IntroWorks, launching powerful B2B brands for more than 30 years. Learn more about them at intro.works. All right. This is Scott Sustacek, your host for CEO to CEO, and I'm excited to have with me today Brent Lau, who carries a lot of titles. He's part owner, chief operating officer, chief financial officer, and most importantly for this episode, EOS integrator for Medina Electric. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to have you here.
Happy to be here.
We're going to be talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, which is EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, also known as Traction. A lot of companies in the roundtable are using it, have implemented it. I remember when I was first introduced to this, which was probably 20 years ago, we had a member of our roundtable that read the book, self-implemented it. His company took off, ended up selling it to a private equity firm, doing very well on his exit, and then helping that private equity firm use EOS across their platform company. So it's got that kind of power, and I'm really excited to get into this conversation with you today, Brent, to hear about how that's impacted you and Medina Electric.
Excellent.
But before we get started, tell us a little bit about Brent Lau and who you are and about Medina Electric.
Yeah, I guess what got me here, going back, I grew up central Minnesota, small little town, Sartell. My dad and grandfather always had construction companies, so construction was something that was always drawn to me. I ended up going to St. Cloud State, get my accounting degree. During that time, I worked for my uncle in the field. He owned Summit Fire Protection, or started Summit Fire Protection. So each summer during college, I was able to go into the field, install, work hand in hand with the field workers, which I think gives me a pretty unique perspective compared to other financial people. After I graduated, I started my career as a CPA. I was an auditor and tax for the first handful of years. Switched over to audit specific, always focusing on construction companies. That gave me a general business background that I used on the private sector for the last 15, 20 years.
The interesting thing is that the finance background that you have meshes really well with the structure and consistency of EOS and doing EOS really well.
I would definitely agree with that. It makes things a lot more black and white. Performing with your scorecards or doing your rocks or doing your to-dos each week, it's pretty black and white. Once you set it up, it's pretty fantastic. The accountability is special.
So tell us a little bit about the Medina Electric story.
Yeah, so we just celebrated a little over 50 years last year. Pretty exciting. It's always kind of been a two-person partnership throughout its whole 51-year lifeline. Pretty neat. Since Jason, the majority owner, my partner, came 20 years ago, I think it went from like a $4 million-ish company to over 40. So
That's
pretty
good growth.
fun to see that change.
Well, and to be part of it and to help drive it. I mean,
Yeah.
It's got to give you a lot of satisfaction.
Absolutely. We were one of those fits right away where our strengths and weaknesses offset each other really well. It makes it a pretty special team. When I first started, we had a board of advisors, and one of the guys on the board of advisors introduced us to John LaFonce, an implementer that we really meshed with. It was pretty fun. Right away, we knew that he'd be the guy to take us on our journey. Previously, Jason had read the book probably a year before that, and now we're about 5 years deep, pretty strong top to bottom. Everything in the office does it. We even have an electric group of foremen that come in once a month, and we run an EOS type meeting with them to do best field practices, safety concerns, manpower needs. It's pretty neat. We've seen a lot of good come out of that.
So you've extended it just beyond your leadership team then to rest of the company. Are there more, those meetings are called L10s. Do you have more than one happening in the company on a weekly basis?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the senior leadership team meets once a week. very regularly. Then we have a finance. We have a project management, sales project management. Then we have a field operations project management one, low voltage and service.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah, and everyone really likes it with being able to cascade messages up and down, and it keeps everyone really in the know.
So how long have you been utilizing EOS?
About 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your story. When you started, it can always be a little bit rocky, and because people don't get it, they don't quite understand what you're doing. There's always challenges in setting rocks and achieving rocks. And so please talk about the journey you had as you started with this implementer. How did it go at the beginning, and what were the challenges you had?
Yeah, I guess anyone that knows anything about EOS knows about the right people, right seat, and the accountability and all those challenges that they talk about. We definitely experienced that. We had some wrong people that are no longer with the company, either their choosing or ours.
Mm-hmm.
EOS flushes that out. It doesn't take long. And we've had people move seats too, which that's probably the most rewarding part of it, because other times you maybe would have given up on someone, like they just can't get this done.
Right.
But here gives them another chance. Hey, they could be really good at this seat, and you give them almost a new life.
Right.
And I've seen that happen a couple times, and that's very rewarding for me.
Well, and I think that's such a big, powerful tool of this system, is constantly reviewing and the leadership team should be, does this person get it, want to have the capacity in that seat to excel?
Yeah.
And if you don't have that,
there's really been no surprises, because we're also pretty strong with our quarterly conversations where you're testing that core value fit.
Yeah.
You're testing that get a wanted capacity, and you're making plans off that. And then we do a little stronger annual review, but all that stuff leads into less surprises for everyone when it comes to time to move or if they're ready to move, right?
Right. And so as you've developed with EOS, I think you shared with me one of the big steps for you was really looking at your customer base and using EOS to help you assess what is a good customer.
Yeah, establishing that VTO and working through that and seeing what your target market is and your target customer really takes a step back and says, well, why are we working with this person when they're tough to work with? We don't make much money. Why are we doing this?
Right.
Sometimes the revenue's nice, right? Where you just kind of want to take whatever you can get. But this really made us take a step back and say, hey, we don't need that hassle. For the little bit more we'll make on an annual basis, it's a lot more work.
Right.
Let's focus that energy on a target customer where we can make hopefully better profits, easier, and have more fun doing it.
Going down that path and starting to really assess your customer base and whether or not they were helping you drive the kind of profitability you wanted, how big of a change did that make in your customer portfolio?
Not significant.
Okay.
Probably 2 to 5 that we do this. We want to be with partners that want to utilize our skills and make the whole project better for everyone.
Right. Obviously, there's a lot of companies that have used this. It's been around a long time. It's well known in the Twin Cities market, certainly. And I've seen companies that have the example I gave earlier, where someone's read the book and said, I'm going to self-implement this, and they've had success with it. But I've also talked to people that have said, I've read the book and haven't really gotten in a groove. We tried it and we let it go. And then it becomes kind of the fad of the day.
Yeah.
What would you, as there are listeners out there trying to decide, do I implement Traction or EOS or not? What would be your advice to them? And in terms of using an implementer or self-implementing, reading the book, how do they get energy in their team with it?
Without a doubt, I would pick an outside implementer. They add so much power to the whole deal. I find that some people that do more of the self-implementing are not following as strict as maybe companies that have an outside implementer. That's dependent on anyone, right?
Right.
Someone could be super good at it and have a passion and really be able to not be in a seat and still think about the whole company. That's the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to take someone from your senior leadership team and make them kind of run the meeting instead of being part of the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest difference, I'd say, that I feel like you can be fully engaged the whole time.
Right.
Knowing that would be me if we were self-implementing. where I'd much rather to be a participant rather than the lead in this certain case.
Yeah, and I think that having done both of those myself and having used some great implementers in town, being at the table with your team and working through things together it's a better position than being trying to lead it and trying to get people playing the role of the implementer.
Yeah, and at least in our case, it doesn't stop with EOS. I mean, he runs through everything and as we have our quarterlies, but he's really like a consultant for our business.
Right.
Just been fantastic. So we thoroughly enjoy each quarter going to see him and coming up with that new rocks, new goals. Call him a ninja because you don't know what's coming. Each quarter he pulls something out and it's like, wow, that's awesome.
Well, and I think that the thing about that too is you go to those quarterlies and you come away refreshed, but then you get back into your business and running your business and being in it, as well as in your role working on it. And it's always good to go and get that outside perspective of how I see it, but that outside perspective might give you that, and I think you're relating to that different vantage point of what you're facing and how you could attack it.
Absolutely.
So as you think about your leadership team, was it hard to get them on board with you on this journey? And did you have people that were reluctant to get into it in the way you have?
I would say for sure the senior leadership team jumped right in. Everyone was pretty excited about it. We were a typical small to mid-sized company where it was a little bit of the wild, wild west, different rules, kind of across the board. No one had the same accountability. I think it drove people into being like, yeah, this is something I could get my arms around.
Mm-hmm. As they looked at it with you, they were pretty open to, this is a way we can really start to grow and scale the company better, faster.
All of that, yeah. The next level down, that was a bit more challenging. The senior leadership team helped kind of grow it, right? And form it into the state it was. That took the better part of a year to get it down to the next level where they didn't have such intimate knowledge of how we were structuring everything. But I'd say after a year, everyone was fully engaged and absolutely loving it.
Mm-hmm.
We always say when we're meeting with people, if you're a person that likes to look at a scoreboard and win, it's a great fit for you because you got to do that every single week. If you're hitting your goals, if you're hitting your scorecard measurables, you got to say you did it every week.
Right.
And someone will say, if you didn't, there'll be a reason, but someone will say, why didn't we hit that?
Mm-hmm. And so you're going to get challenged to be better, right? And to improve yourself, improve what you're doing in the company.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to go back to something you said a little bit earlier about the right person, right seat. And if you could give us an example of probably, if you can think of it, the most impactful move you made in the company.
So the most impactful one, we had a person that was struggling with payroll, the details around it, but super good people person, just would do anything for anyone. Just a great team member. It shifted into more of a safety, fitting her skill set.
Right.
Office blend where she gets to go out to the field, meet with some people, and it's just, she's been happier, we've been happier. I smile thinking about it, actually.
So Brent, a lot of companies look at EOS and say, well, that's really for small companies. I'll call it 5 million or less, but clearly that's not you. I mean, you're a much larger company. I've seen it used in much larger companies. Do you envision continuing to use this to help fuel Medina's growth?
Without a doubt, I would say actually EOS has helped us attract some talent and some diversification to Medina. Low voltage in specific. We started that up about 2 years ago, and the structure and framework around what we do and EOS was one of the main reasons that the VP that we have came over. He liked that you'd have pointed meetings and real to-dos afterwards, not just go sit, talk for an hour and a half, and everyone walks away in a different direction and nothing gets done.
Right.
So, yeah, we're excited to roll it out everywhere we can, whether it be if we eventually do a geographical move or acquisitions, this will all be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see an end in sight of anywhere where it would not benefit us. Every time we onboard someone, they sit down with Jason or myself and go through that VTO, because that really tells in one page, this is where we're heading, which is nice. If people are aligned with that, then it's a great fit. If it's not, then it's not.
Right.
It makes it simple.
And you've continued to work with your implementer just on a quarterly basis, so he'll do the quarterly updates with you and the
Yep.
team? Yeah.
Yep. So we do half days, half
Yep.
day quarterlies, scaled back from a full day because we are much in line now. So it's helpful for him to steer us, get everything out. But yeah, we can get it done in a half day, and annually we do a full day with him.
Yeah. Well, EOS has got it's such a powerful tool as you've outlined for our listeners, and the ability to change and transform a business with it. If you use it in the way it's meant to be used and you stay consistent with it and disciplined, I mean it can take your company to great heights.
Yeah.
Obviously, right?
Yeah, what's kind of fun for me, my EOS journey and my CEO roundtable journey
Yeah.
are almost within months of each other from starting. So I've been able to kind of leverage both those things together because there are a lot of EOS companies within the CEO roundtable. And it's been super helpful for me because if I hadn't seen it, someone on my table has. It's been a great deal for me.
And have you done anything, because obviously EOS, they host different conferences, events each year. Have you participated in any of those to work with like-minded people around EOS and what you're doing?
We have not traveled for anything
Yeah.
of those larger conferences. We have been a part of some smaller scale where they've done some feedback on relationships of visionary and integrator, which has been neat. And,
Yeah.
and from that, they gave us some resources that they did as a result of meeting with different integrators and visionaries. So kind of fun to be a part of the greater EOS that instead of just our local company.
Well, and I think the other thing, and you mentioned it in the roundtable, because there are a lot of companies that use it, but it also gives you a community that you can go to and say, hey, we're having this problem with, setting rocks, whatever it might be. How do you guys do this? And they can help you or give you something to reflect on. That's always good.
Yeah, right? It's just another connection.
Yeah.
Because the fun part is you're in very different businesses. Everyone on the table has significantly different business, but you can all, when there's something like EOS or anything that you can relate to, it makes the conversations even that much easier.
Right.
And it is funny with how different the businesses are, the issues are the same.
Right.
So everyone's able to help. It's pretty fun.
You talked a little bit about your journeys matching EOS and the roundtable, and I'd like to just switch gears a little bit and talk more about your roundtable journey now. And if you could share with our listeners, as you've been in the roundtable, what's been the most impactful decision that your roundtable's helped you?
Over the last 5 years, there's been quite a few. I would say one of the bigger ones was getting into low voltage and deciding to hire someone and go after that internally. They were a great sounding board, great advice for how to integrate that in and how to persuade your project managers into using an internal resource as opposed to the outside vendors that they were previously accustomed to.
Was that hard to get that?
Medium hard.
Okay.
Because then they had to really trust the internal department.
Right.
Because they didn't have, 2-3 quotes to go off each other.
Right.
But over time, I'd say definitely there's been a lot of comfort around that. And
okay.
The VP of low voltage always says one team, one fight. So that helps things out. Just like we're all on the same team here.
Yeah.
It's going to work. It's better for Medina as a whole.
Well, and that's a big strategic decision, right? That has a lot of different facets to it. New business segment for you. It's complementary to what you do, but again, not something you've done and not a competency that you had in-house.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the round table and having probably 3 to 4 presentations on that over the last 2.5 years has been incredibly helpful.
Yeah. Now I've got what I call my 3 fun questions for our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. So your favorite movie?
So I do like a lot of the Will Ferrell movies, and seasonally, Elf is one that I have to watch probably half a dozen times throughout the Christmas season. I love his humor; he's hilarious. It brings a smile to my face.
Well, yeah, what a great comedian, and that movie is it's a holiday favorite, right?
Yeah.
What are you reading right now?
The book I'm reading right now is called Spin Selling. Right now, we have an outside consultant helping us be more proactive in our sales approach.
Yeah.
So he did a bunch of training, and we're currently in a 6-week kind of final show of everything we learned of reading the book and
Sure.
being more proactive as opposed to reactive, which a lot of construction companies can be.
Yeah. And then last question is, what's your bucket list concert
So honestly, I've seen a lot of the ones that
that you wanted to see?
that I wanted to see, but there's a couple that came out over the last year that I thought would have been super fun. One was Oasis, and the other was Green Day.
Oh, yeah.
Two that I hadn't seen. Bring me back to my high school days. Those would have been fun.
Yeah. Well, this has been a great conversation, and I really appreciate your openness and sharing your journey with EOS and Medina Electric and the growth you've had, and we wish you continued success, and we'll need to do another check-in.
All right. Thank you.
How it's going. Thanks. Thank you for listening to the CEO to CEO podcast, produced by Dave Swerdlick and the incredible team at Uptown Podcast Studios. You can find them at uptownpodcast.com. Be certain to subscribe so you don't miss an episode with more CEO wisdom highlighting experience and insights from the trenches. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review and share with others. If you are a Minnesota-based business leader who would like to learn more about being part of a peer advisory roundtable, check us out at ceo-roundtable.org.